This is S4 homework help due Tuesday the 24th of November. Question 1A on the National 5 side starts with thirds. So you want to think of a factor of 72 that is a square number. So the first one I will help you with. So root 72, we can write that as root 36 times root 2, because 36 times 2 is 72. Minus root 2, that's going to stay the same, we can't simplify that at all, plus root 50. So what can you simplify root 50? What square number is a factor of root 50? So you can finish that off, you can simplify that further. Root 36 is 6, root 2, and so on. You'll then be able to collect like terms, everything in terms of root 2, and you'll have your final answer. For part B, you need to remember your laws of indices. So, if you do a to the power of n times a to the power of m, you're going to get a to the power of n plus m. So you want to add your indices. If you are dividing, so a to the power of n over a to the power of m, then you want to take them away. So you're going to do a to the power of n subtract m. So you can use those two laws. They're the only two you will need for this question to help you answer it. Please remember, you also need to multiply your 3 and 4 and then divide your answer by 6. For part 2, you just need to multiply out the brackets and simplify. So you are going to multiply everything in that bracket by everything in those brackets. And then you're going to do the same with x plus 1 squared. Remember, x plus 1 squared is the same as x plus 1 times x plus 1. So again, you're going to do x times 2x, x times negative 1, and then 3 times 2x, 3 times negative 1, and then the same for this side, for these brackets here, and then collect like terms to simplify. Question 3, factorising. So one method you can use, 6 times negative 10 gives you negative 60. You can then list all your factors of negative 60. So first one that comes to mind, negative 6 and 10. We, however, want them to add together to make negative 11. So negative 6 and 10, that's no good, that's going to give us positive 4. What about negative 5 and 12? That's no good, that doesn't give us negative 11. What about negative 4 and 15? Negative 4 add 15 is going to give us positive 11, so maybe try turning them around. Let's try positive 4 and negative 15. That will give us 11, so we want to use that one there. So we can then rewrite our initial equation as 6x squared, and we're going to replace minus 11x with plus 4x minus 15x, and then we can put our minus 10 on the end. You then want to look at each half of this equation separately. So 6x squared plus 4x and minus 15x minus 10. Look for a common factor in the first two terms, then a common factor in the next two terms. And you should be able to continue from there. Question 4, there's two different methods you can use for simultaneous equations. The first one being, we can multiply everything in the bottom by 3 so that we can get 3x and we can cancel them out. So if we do it that way, so timesing the bottom by 3, we are going to get 3x minus 12y, which equals negative 18. So we now have our equations. We can leave the first one as it is and call that equation 1. And we can call our new equation equation 2. If we then do equation 1 take away equation 2, we should get 3 subtract 3x, which will be 0, so you'll end up with an equation in terms of y. Once you have your value for y, you can then substitute that in to one of your initial equations and solve for x. The second method you can use to solve simultaneous equation is substitution. So changing our second equation, we're going to rearrange it so that we have something in terms of x. So x equals minus 6 plus 4y. So we can substitute all that into our top equation. So 3, and instead of x, I'm going to write minus 6 plus 4y. Then plus 2y, which equals minus 4. Multiply out the brackets, solve for y. Then once you have a value for y, you can substitute that back into this equation for x. Question 5, you are looking for the equation of the line. So we need it to be in the form y equals mx plus c. So m is the gradient. So for that we use the formula m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You get those values from the points that you're given. So here and here. So for example, that could be your x1, y1, and that can be your x2, y2. You can then put your value for m into this equation here, y equals mx plus c, and you're just left with c. Now, in order to find c, you can pick one of these points, a or b, to substitute in. So you're going to have, let's use b for example. So y equals 1, m equals whatever you've found, so you'll have m, x equals 8, and then plus c. So once you put your value for m in here, you can then solve it for c, putting c back into your equation. Moving on to the National 4 side, the first question asks you to calculate the gradient of the line PQ. So we can do this quite easily by working out the change in vertical height over the change in horizontal distance. So all you do is count the boxes up the way and divide it by the number of boxes along the way. You can also use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Question 2 is circle work, a couple of formula that you need to know. The circumference of the coin, so circumference equals pi d, where d is the diameter, and the area of a circle is pi r squared, where r is the radius. You do need to know both of those formula off by heart. And question 3, expanding the brackets and simplifying. So multiply everything in this bracket by 3 and then simplify. Collect like terms and simplify. And the same for part B.